The new electric car has an interesting pattern in the ice on the window. Welcome to another week. I think it's week 45 in this vlog. And I'm spending a few moments in the educational bubble before I head out into the chill, listening to the book Your Future Self by Hal Hershfield. And he's talking about commitment devices, which are essentially contracts of sorts that you can set up in advance of a situation that you're likely to cope in or succumb to cravings. And I know these are super popular. Well, not super popular, but a lot of people employ them, and there's a good degree of success. But from my opinion and experience, it still keeps your identity in the driver's seat. And your identity is likely to push you through things that are going to make you want to cope and make you want to lean towards cravings. So that's why you hear me talk so much about stepping outside of identity, because identity is not your friend. Speaking of not your friend, my identity gets me to do races like the one yesterday up Mount Greylock, and I couldn't even bend over to take off my roller skis yesterday, and my hamstrings were just devastated. But when I got back to town, I hopped on the elliptical and started gently and got an hour in, and they started to feel a lot better. Then I hopped on the treadmill, did, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes on the treadmill last night at a 10% incline. And now I'm waking up and my hamstrings are fine. They may hurt tomorrow. I may get DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, but today they feel much better, which is one of the reasons that I always engage in movement after a race or after something really difficult. Keep things moving through the system, through the cells, and help get rid of waste products. All right, here we go. Of late, I've had a lot of days that feel time crunched. So I'm really ramping up my gentleness tools and just giving myself lots of really small cues. So my morning and afternoon, for the most part, are going to be absolutely full of coaching calls and projects back at the house, getting the electric charger set up. I might have to dig a trench so that we can lay conduit and cable and create a little charging kiosk next to the parking pad that I built last year. In addition to digging under the house and getting the foundation shored up, or actually creating a foundation. So I have very little time to do things like exercise. At least that's how my brain wants to frame it. There's plenty of time in a 16-hour day. I just have to make the best use of it and not be in a story of what I can't do, and instead just keep putting little gentle cues in front of me. Like right now, shoes. My shoes are going on. The moment my shoes are on, the elliptical becomes a possibility. I don't have to be on there forever, but I have a little time window right now before my first coaching call. So shoes on, I'm gonna walk in that direction, see what happens, and I'm just gonna keep doing that. Just get myself prepared so that when I have a bit of time available, I can jump right into the next thing, gently and without stress. All right, shoes on now. It is a very windy day, but it's not too cold, so I don't mind working out here. Filling up the trailer with loads of dirt, taking it to the field, and then tomorrow I can start putting some footings in. This is going to be my office for the afternoon, which I dug by hand. And now what I'm doing is taking fresh pressure-treated wood and marrying it to the beams, which are punky and rotten. So I'm gonna do that with all of, well, that one you can see is mostly missing there at the end. So adding new wood, I already got one in, to all of these rotten old beams. And once I have solid wood in, I can add cinder block footings that go up from the ground and support the house. It is a November morning. A little bit of rain, snow, sleet. I think it's just snow up in Woodford. I may go check later if the roads are okay. Yeah, I gotta love November. Anyway, I'm listening to that car, but I'm also listening to a new book called Seeing Red by Nicholas Humphrey or Humphreys, I forget which. It's about consciousness and his theorizing about what consciousness could be, how it arises, what it does, from a user's perspective. So he's looking at it as a philosopher, not as a neuroscientist. And it's interesting, but a lot of philosophers just spend a heck of a lot of time describing things in ways that don't really get you very far. And maybe that's necessary, but a couple hours in and nothing's really biting yet. Although he just did quote Robert Pirsig, who wrote Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And the quote was something about truth being something that you're looking for, but when it ends up knocking on the door, you tell it to go away because you're looking for the truth, and it goes away. And this is what I see all around me, and even within myself, that we seek truth, but we actually don't want truth. Not if it disagrees with what we imagine the truth to be. So we seek something desirable and call it truth. Meanwhile, the truth is all around us and we consider it undesirable. So we hold out for that truth that we want. And this is where much of our suffering comes from. Anyway, I'm going to head upstairs and start my work day. I'm taking my sweet time this morning, hanging out in the educational bubble. Got some tea at the store and I'm sitting here sipping it and listening to Nicholas Humphrey's book, Sentience. I finished his book, Seeing Red, last night, which is about the difference between perception and sensation. And now I'm into this one, which goes into this idea of sentience even further and the nature of consciousness. And I love this topic. It's probably what I spend the most time thinking about, the nature of consciousness, what it does, how it tricks us, and who we are outside of it, and what we can get done outside of it, and how often doing something outside of consciousness is far more effective. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you drive, you've probably found yourself in your driveway and not remembering the drive home, which means that you drove home without being conscious, that your conscious mind was drifting somewhere else. You were daydreaming, and yet you were still turning right, stopping, turning left, etc. We don't need our conscious mind to do things in the world. People sleepwalking, another great example. So, been here for about 15 minutes listening and sipping, and now I'm going to head into the studio and do some transcription and polling machine. It's going to be in the 40s today, so a bit warmer. Pavement's still going to be hard, but I'll probably try a roller ski maybe in an hour or so, and then I got to go home and dig under the house. I'm actually putting beams in at this point. I still got digging to do, but I've already got 2 beams up. So I'm making progress on the shoring things up and making them more stable. All right, here we go. Something kind of fun just fell into my lap. So I am down in Massachusetts at the moment waiting to get access to this facility so that I can compete in the World Ski Erg Championships. A ski erg is a machine that resembles poling in cross-country skiing, and you often see them in CrossFit competitions or high rocks competitions. And skiers all over the world use them to train in the off-season. They're made in Vermont, by the way, by a company called Concept 2. I think they may have started in Craftsbury, Vermont, where I ski quite a bit and race, but now they're in Morrisville, Vermont. Anyway, this weekend, the World Championships is taking place. It's a 1,000 meter test. The fastest person in the world this year so far, over 50, is 3 minutes and 7 seconds. I think the world record for over 50 is 2 minutes and 56 seconds. I've never used a ski erg in my life. I have no idea what it's going to feel like, but I've been using my poling machine back at the studio that I built to do similar training. I'm really strong in that motion, but it's a totally different type of machine. I'm lifting weights. This is a flywheel. So you're pushing against air resistance, or should I say the air is resisting what you're doing. Anyway, I'm nervous. I'm also excited. And it's going to be a good test because the data on the ski erg is pretty consistent across the board no matter where you do it. So people all over the world are doing it. They're submitting their data. You take a picture of the screen or a video of the readout, and then you submit it, and it ends tomorrow. So I reached out looking for one of these machines to use, and someone said, hey, I can get you access to one. So I just found out like 2 hours ago. So here I am, ready to hop on. See, here we go. I'm bringing out the old running raw gear, and you're about to see me use a ski erg for the first time ever. I don't even know how to use it. I'm not sure what damper setting to use. We'll maybe run a few experiments first. All right, so let's move the damper up to setting 7, which is what I saw Anders Auckland do, Norwegian superstar who's 50 or 51 now. Saw him do a session, he said he set the damper to 7, so we'll see. So here we go, ski erg world championship, 1,000 meters. All right, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah.
What'd you get for a time?
3:52.
You were saying 350?
I was hoping for 3:30.
330?
Started too hard. Started way too hard.
Yeah.
I was going at 3-minute pace.
Yeah.
That was too much. Hard. Hard. So different than my poling machine.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. We're done. We have arrived at the end of another week. And this one ended rather stressfully, so I'm trying to shake that off. The ski erg test was not only difficult to do and a bit humbling, but it was also hard to get it set up and to coordinate getting access to the facility and making phone calls and meeting people that I don't know. And the shy introvert in me found that rather exhausting. So other than that, it was a good week. I'm over 3 hours a day, so it was like 21 hours and 15 minutes. So good solid week of training. And I'm looking forward to next week having nothing on the calendar and just letting myself roam free. And to getting back into some strength training seriously, because this week was a little bit low because of the potentiality of the ski erg test. So hopefully we can jump back on the pull-ups. Anyway, let me show you what I did. As last week was a taper for the Mount Greylock race, I barely did any neutral pull-ups. I think Tuesday was the last day I did them. So I put on a 20-pound weight vest and 38 pounds on the weight belt. And I did a set of 2 at 58 pounds. And I don't know, that felt like enough, so I stopped. Tuesday, more neutral pull-ups to make up for Monday. And I started doing L-sit on the 3rd, which is super tough on the core. And then I went to knees. So I put my knees, my thighs straight in front of me, but let my lower legs drop. So that's what the K stands for. And those are tough. And then some good pulling. On Wednesday, I did deep push-ups. Those are tough, but I love them. Some pretty comfortable dips, knees to bars, some horse stance, just one set, just trying to get that to become more common, and then one set of polling. That was a pretty good day. Thursday, one set of polling, because I was hoping at some point I'd get access to a ski erg in the next few days, which I did. Friday, neutral pull-ups. Didn't look like I was going to get ski erg access, so cranked out some good pull-ups. And 13 was pretty comfortable. So the goal of this workout was just to increase every set. And 13 wasn't my max. And then I got the call yesterday telling me that the ski erg was available. So that was brutal. 352 for 1,000 meters. Looking at the video, my form was not appropriate for a ski erg test. It was good for skiing, but not for a ski erg. So I came back here after, and I did some pretty intense 8-minute sets on the polling machine. B3 and B4 are heavy. That hurt because I was already toast from the ski erg, so I thought, why not give myself a hard day of polling? And then today, I did something I rarely do. I rested because that was tough. So this coming week is going to be off-leash, free range. I'm just going to let myself explore movement without a goal, and we'll see what happens. And I'll see you then.